Do you think the Chinese and/or the Russians are reading your emails?
It is very likely. It is not without, outside the realm of possibility, and we know that they have attacked a number of American interests over the course of the last days.
It's time to realize something up front. Everyone within the sound of my voice right now, you and everyone you know, is on the verge of having your life ruined by global hackers. Sure, it may never happen, but the possibility exists right there, leaping off your computer screen, your tablet, your phone, whatever. From making millions of illegal stock market trades to reading the emails of our current Secretary of State, and very likely those of a past official who just couldn't stay away from having her own server at home, we're all targets. And if you expect the almighty government to do something about it right now, don't hold your electronic breath. Let's welcome in former director of the New Jersey Division of Consumer Affairs and author of the forthcoming book, Swiped: How to Protect Yourself in a World Full of Scammers, Phishers, and Identity Thieves. Adam Levin joins us. Adam, always a pleasure to have you back on the show, and it's interesting how every time we gather, we're talking about things that are happening, things that might help. Oh, wait, here's one. The Department of Homeland Security finally, and I have to laugh when I say that word, has someone to lead the division which is involved of cybersecurity, the cybersecurity hub. Okay, Adam, it's great that we have one here, but let's just get this out in the open. This will still take years. We are still behind the 8 ball here, and it's nice to hear this, but it doesn't solve anything right now, does it?
No, look, it is a start. You and I have talked about this several times, and good evening, by the way. But the problem is that, we are witnessing the cyber soap opera, the cyber follies coming out of Washington. I mean, if you think about it, not too long ago, they announced the 30-day cyber sprint, where they just released the results, where 14 out of 24 federal agencies are doing better, doing something like two-way authentication. Where were they in the past few years while the rest of the world was being ravaged by hackers? So we're behind the 8 ball. We've got a long way to go, and Congress still hasn't passed anything of meaning. So, yeah, we're in the soup here.
All right, so when you heard John Kerry tell CBS News that he believes the Chinese and the Russians are likely reading his emails, why do I get the feeling that all you did was sit there and nod your head and go, it's about time somebody said it out loud?
Yeah, well, the problem is that they have been saying it out loud in the past few months. I mean, look at all the different hacks that we've been privy to now. We've seen the State Department. We've seen the Defense Department. We've seen the Postal Service. We've seen the White House. We've seen the Office of Personnel Management. The list goes on and on and on. What we don't see, and, in fairness to our side, what we don't see is press releases from the Russians and the Chinese as to all the things that our intelligence officials may be doing with them, because we're slightly more open than they are. But we have a long way to go. We have dallied for too long. And it's now, it's coming home to roost. We're going to be paying the bills on this for a very long time.
All right, so let me dig in a little bit on what you just said there, because it's fair to say the Russians and the Chinese never tell anybody. But in your opinion, how devious, how good are we then at getting back at them through the internet?
Well, I think we got a lot of good guys. We're just not going to talk about it. They got a lot of very sophisticated and effective hackers. State-sponsored hackers, as well as hackers that are actually working directly for the government as government employees. And they're everywhere. I mean, if you look just at the reports over the past few months, you can see the pattern emerging. Not only are they trying to gather as much intelligence information as possible through the Office of Personnel Management and hacking the different federal agencies, but they've also taken to hacking airlines and other private institutions where they could begin to match things that are going on in the private sector with things that are going on in the public sector to give them a fuller picture of the movement of American officials and intelligence officers around the globe.
I got about a minute left here. How much are we not talking enough about the fact that this story came out this week? U.S.-based stock traders and computer hackers in the Ukraine made $100 million in illegal profits over 5 years by stealing information from corporate press statements. We don't hear about this enough, but this is a billion, maybe $1 trillion industry out there, is it not?
Oh, no, it's a big problem. And go back to Fin 4, which occurred a couple of a year or so ago, where people were hacking in by way of spear phishing to to companies that are publicly traded, that were in many cases biotechnology companies, where they were getting clinical trial information, they were front running it, they were hacking into emails of boards and C-suite people. You see this. Again, this is just one further derivation of Gordon Gekko telling Bud Fox to go into the law firm and photograph information and files of mergers and acquisitions. It's been going on for a very long time. They're just simply finding new ways to do it. We got to get much tougher on it.
Who thought we'd actually think Gordon had it right? Let's remind everybody once again the book, because it is something that everybody needs to read. Swiped: How to Protect Yourself in a World Full of Scammers, Phishers, and Identity Thieves. Adam Levin, always a pleasure, my friend. Thanks so much for joining us. Stay with us. The Hard Line continues.